Good morning. As promised, cooking with rations, World War II. Just having a look today, not going to do any cooking. We will look at the recipes and do that at a later date. Yeah. You might be a bit crooked. Hang on. Is that better? Or not? I'm going to put a little clip of a video in here, hopefully, just to give you a bit of an idea about World War II. Now, this is a time capsule that was found a few years ago, and this was an article taken from a news story. The F. Smith in it is my granddad, or was my granddad. He's obviously no longer here. And the lady reading it is my mum's sister, my auntie. So I'll let you watch that and I'll get back to you.
It's taken the demolition of an old chimney in Hastings for it to give up a concealed bottle carrying a message from the past.
It was lodged between a layer of bricks, and the grubby lemonade bottle was only discovered by a local builder when they were knocking the chimney apart. And inside was a message written by a local builder at the outbreak of the Second World War, with future generations in mind. John Young reports. It is a message to you and to me. A message in a bottle, in a chimney, on a building site.
On this sort of section above this, where it's a lot wider, so where you can leave a void within the brickwork to put your little message.
And there it was.
And there it was, yeah. So it was all rather good.
The author, it's thought, H. Hod, a bricklayer.
This bottle was inserted on October the 4th, 1939. We are at war with Hitler. We are having a rough time getting materials. By the time you read this, we shall be pushing up daisies.
And if you're wondering why we chose a female voice, Beth Swan is one of the bricklayer's daughters. Morgan, his 10-year-old great-grandson.
But he always said he would never be forgotten, so if he's leaving his initials everywhere, then he won't be forgotten.
You sound quite choked up.
I am, because it's a long time, you know, seeing it.
The war was a month old. Each day brought uncertainty.
Over the shores of Kent they came, over the beaches of Sussex and the flats of the Thames estuary.
It's quite interesting that they had the foresight to write the note and write that they hoped somebody would be reading it in the future. Because I think it must have been the war, the impact that they were living through, really important historic times, you know, times that people would remember.
The bottle was discovered over the road from one of Hastings' local museums, a suitable place for other relatives of those wartime builders to gather late this afternoon and thank the man who put their family's history in their hands. John Young, BBC South East Today, Hastings.
Right, now, that was just to give you a bit of an idea. You know, war had just started. My mum would have been 9 at the time. Sadly, her and my dad are no longer here, so I can't ask any questions. I can only tell you what she told me. Now, I had to make notes. For myself, I had to make some notes. World War II started in 1939. It was 1939 to 1945. As I said, my mum would have been 9 at the time. Rationing came in at 19... Oh no, I haven't wrote that bit down. It came in a year after the war. But we were living in... I wasn't here, obviously. My mum and her family were living in Hastings Old Town, where they come from. War had started. As many coastal houses then, towns, people would take in lodgers over the summer, and my nan and granddad, apparently, according to my mum, were taking this gentleman from London, and he came down year after year, bed and breakfast, and he said to my nan and granddad, well, I digress. There was posters put out by the government for everyone to leave the coast if you could, travel inland. So, my nan and granddad, this gentleman said to my nan and granddad, come up to London. The planes had never reached that far. Yeah. At that time, they didn't think they would. They didn't think the planes would get as far as the capital. They really didn't. So my mum, her brother, my nan and granddad went off to London. A year after the war started, rationing came in. Yeah, I mean, not anybody else would go to London, would they, quite honestly? My granddad tried to get into the services. He couldn't because he had perforated eardrums. He always wore hearing aids all of his life, and they refused to take him. So he was a builder by trade, as you would have seen in that video previously to this. He was doing, at night, he was doing the fire wardens on top of the tallest buildings in London, putting out buckets of water, buckets of sand, buckets of water, putting out fires as the bombs were dropping. I mean, God, how brave that man must have been, eh? He never spoke about it at all, as a lot of people in the war didn't, you know. But, as I say, rationing came in a year after war started. Now, I just read another bit and I didn't write it down, but first of all, it was only a few things that was rationed, and then a year later, the rationing then per person was 1 egg. This is for a weekly ration. 1 egg, you've got a ration book, look. 2 ounces of tea, 2 ounces of butter, 1 ounce of cheese, 8 ounces of sugar, 4 ounces of bacon, and 4 ounces of margarine. Now, if you was a pregnant lady, you got a green book. There was brown, I think, for just everybody, green for pregnant women, and blue, I believe, for children. So let me take these off so I can read. Pregnant ladies got a green book, which entitled them to orange juice, cod liver oil, vitamin A and D tablets, and an extra pint of milk per day, and an extra egg per week, and an extra half ration of meat per week. So, and children got more eggs and milk and was encouraged to eat more fruit and veg, but poor nutrition increased rickets. Yeah. So at that, now I've got something on my glasses, a hair. So at that stage, people was encouraged to dig up their gardens for vegetables. So dig for victory, they classed it as. And the government put out loads of pamphlets on what you could make, wartime things you could make. Oh, I think in the front of this one, it has lots of, yeah, this is a good book. This is one I was looking for the other day that I couldn't find. Money saving ideas, good health tips, cooking for one, delicious recipes. So, yeah. We were going to have a look. Now, carrots were easy to grow, weren't they? Well, they were, apparently. People could put them in pots and all sorts if you didn't have gardens. And there was things like carrot pudding, carrot jam, and carrot lollies, which was just a carrot on a stick. That wouldn't have fooled my kids, would you? No, I can't stand raw carrots myself. But we're going to have a look, see what recipes there were. How am I going to do this? Could I bring you down a bit? Do you think so? And we can have a look at the book together. Now this might go horribly wrong. You might fall off. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can bring you down slightly. Ooh, too slightly. Move you forward. Can you see? Can you see me now? There we go. How's that? Maybe. Right. You can't see, don't tell me fibs, you cannot see. So maybe I'll just have to read to you. We try, we give it a go. It's not very light in here. Oh well. Now, Nostalgia Cookbook. You're not going to be able to see at all. Is that better? I hope you made a cup of coffee. I forgot. What an idiot, eh? Let's look at this one first. Favourite ration book recipes. Excuse me. Easy to make dishes from wartime years. Lovely picture. Oh look, corned beef fritters. A tin of corned beef, 8 ounces of potato cold, 1 onion chopped, a little milk, 1 ounce of margarine, a little oil for frying, salt and pepper to season. That would be a good one to do. It makes 4 patties apparently. Saute the onions in a frying pan with a little oil for 10 minutes until they are start to brown. Seems a long time, 10 minutes. Meanwhile, mince the margarine, corned beef and potatoes together with a fork. Smash it all up. Add a little milk to moisten and season well with salt and pepper. Fold through cooked onions and then with your hands form 4 patties. Return patties to frying pan. Fry for 15 minutes, turning once until golden brown. Serve with seasonable vegetables from your garden. A good dollop of your favourite brown sauce. Sounds good to me. I won't read them all out. Spam hash. Oh, rabbit stew. Now, I'm sorry, but I can't eat rabbit. I can't. My mum used to buy rabbits from the butchers. And she told me when she was a little girl, they had, in the war, my granddad bred rabbits. He had rabbits hutches all the way round in London. I think it was a yard all the way round. And they weren't allowed to name the rabbits because they were for food. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't kill and hurt a rabbit, but they had to. They had no other choice. They had to live, didn't they? And they had to survive. And it wasn't only those, you could buy other things that wasn't on ration, but it was hard to get it. It was hard to get times, and they didn't know when the shops were getting food in. My nan used to go out shopping with my mum, and my nan used to always say to my mum, if you see a queue, join it. And when they didn't know what they was queuing for, because food was in such short supply that they was pleased to take anything when they got to the front of the queue. For their rationed items, they had to use certain shops because you had to register with your local shop. You couldn't get those anywhere else. Autumn pie. Now this was put out by the Ministry of Food for your vegetables that you was expected to grow in your garden. So oh goodness me, I don't know how many this feeds. 8 cups of seasonable vegetables. Now a teacup would have been, it wouldn't have been a measuring cup in those days. It would have been a teacup that you drink your tea out of, obviously. 8 cups of seasonable veg, which was Swede potatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, turnips, carrots and cabbage, all prepared and diced. Six large potatoes cubed with skin on, 2 onions chopped, 1 leek sliced, a knob of butter or margarine. Well, you wouldn't have got butter, it would have all been margarine. You mashed your potatoes with that. A knob of butter for frying, a knob of butter or margarine for the sauce, 2 ounces of flour, 2 ounces of cheddar grated, 1 teaspoon of mustard powder, 1 pint of milk, salt and pepper to season. Saute the onions and leeks in butter for 5 minutes until soft. Meanwhile, boil and prepare vegetables for 20 minutes until just cooked and drain into a bowl. Also, boil potatoes for 20 minutes until cooked, drain, mash with a knob of butter and a splash of milk, taken from the 1 pint. To make the sauce, melt the knob of butter and the flour and the mustard powder in a saucepan, stir well for a few minutes. Gradually mix in the milk, stirring well, and simmer until the sauce has thickened. Remove from the heat, add grated cheese, season well with salt and pepper, stir until the cheese has melted. To assemble the pie, pour the sauce over the veg, fold in well, layer in the base of a baking dish, top with mashed potato, bake in a preheated oven until golden brown. Serve with some crusty bread. Well, it sounds good, but would it be? I don't know. Then you've got spanned hash, tin of span, 6 potatoes, onion, 1 tomato and a knob of marge. Yeah, a lot of things were fried, weren't they? Leftover pastries. Wartime rationing forced households to be thrifty and many tasty leftover recipes were created. These pasties were ideal to take to work in your lunchbox. So you've got your short crust pastry, which it tells you how to make. You've got leftover meat chopped up, 1 onion chopped up, a carrot, 2 tomatoes, salt and pepper, milk to glaze. Mix the prepared, because it's some leftovers, so it would all been pre-cooked. That was a bit confusing. Yeah, you make your pastry and you put it all inside and you just bake for 50 minutes, 30 minutes even. Mock duck, oh, that's sausage meat. Sausage meat and apple, onions and sage. Stuffed marrow, no thank you. Fish pie. Yeah, so there was my family, my mum, one of her brothers that was there in the war in London. My mum came out of school, left school at 12. Because my nan went on to have other children and she was quite poorly, and my mum came out of school to look after her basically. Potato pancakes, bacon and stuffing pudding. Oh, bacon and stuffing pudding. Oh, that suet paste. I know, I was never keen on. Mum used to make put in a cloth and steam for 2 hours. Now, my mum used to make a bacon pudding when we were kids, and I just didn't like it. Everybody loved it except me. Cheesy tomato and potato loaf. Vegetable stew, bread and butter pudding. Cabbage and potato soup, autumn soup. Yeah, I was saying, a lot of people, I didn't realise it was a thing. People have been doing this sort of cooking for a year, or are doing it now for a year. Carrot and ginger buns. Oh, they might make might be quite nice. Makes a dozen buns. I'd have to half this recipe because it would just be me. Oh, it's got honey in. See, I'm not keen on honey. But in those days, I'm sure you would have ate anything that was put on a plate in front of you. It says here, during the war, Mum remembers the first apple pie in the autumn baked by her mum with apples from her grandma's brambly apple tree in her back garden. Tin fruit was rationed but provided a great alternative to fresh fruit, especially during the winter months. And you got prune roly-poly. So, I've got to pick something to make, haven't I? Date and potato pie. Oh, date and potato tart. I don't think so. Savoury cheese pie. That's made with 8 slices of bread, 4 ounces of cheese grated, a little more if your ration book allows, 2 eggs beaten, 2 ounces of milk, salt and pepper to taste. Served hot with baked beans. Wartime Christmas cake. Yeah, rationing in the UK went on to 1954. Yeah, 1954. I can't think what year my mum and dad got married. But I know they had a cardboard wedding cake. Spicy apple chutney. That'd be a nice one to do, wouldn't it, if you've got a lot of apples. You pickle it, but mock orange marmalade, mock cream. My dad used to make cakes, and he used to still make mock cream. I remember him doing it. Potato short crust pastry. Now I saw somebody else doing a potato pastry on something. Yeah, you got 4 ounces of self-rising flour, a pinch of salt, 1 ounce of lard, 1 ounce, which is, if you don't know lard, it's basically pig fat. 1 ounce of marge, 4 ounces of cooked mashed potato, very smooth, and a splash of water. Now I saw them doing it with, what did I see them doing? I think it was something with, I can't remember. I really can't remember. I will have to investigate. See, and then in this one, it's got, you could follow this diet for better health. And a lot of people, as I said, it's the seasons for the vegetables, eating to the seasons. What seasons you got? It's okay if you like a lot of veg, isn't it? I think sort of a year into the war, you was allowed to buy, you could buy meat, but it was only like £1 a week you could spend on meat. It wasn't done on weight. I haven't wrote that down, so it was something like that. Dried eggs. My mum loved dried eggs. You could buy the egg powder, and a packet of egg powder was the equivalent of 12 eggs. My mum remembers my granddad, because as I say, he had rabbits and he grew vegetables and things, and if he had a lot of something, she can remember him walking down the road with it and exchanging it with another neighbour for something they had. Like if they had chickens, he would give them a rabbit for a chicken and things like that. And that's what they did. And that's how they got through the war. Bacon turnovers. Oh, one rasher's fat bacon. 1 to 2. Obviously with the fat on. 4 ounces of plain flour with 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 4 ounces of self-rising flour, pinch of salt, no, teaspoon even, goodness me, 1.5 to 1 teaspoons of mixed herbs, 4 to 6 tablespoons of milk. You fry your bacon, keeping the fat to fry the turnovers. You get fat after you're frying your bacon. My mum always drained that off into a cup to use for other frying and keep it in the fridge. And I still do it. If I'm frying bacon and you don't get a lot of fat these days, do you? They put more water in than anything. But I keep that for something else. Yeah. Well, you fry your bacon, keeping the fat. Mix the dry ingredients to a I can't read today. Scone dough with milk and roll to 1/4 inch thickness. Cut into 8 3-inch rounds. Place bacon in the centre of the flour. Dampen the edges and cover with the remaining 4 rounds. Fry in the bacon fat for about 10 minutes until cooked through and golden brown on both sides. Could be nice. Could be. Then you got fried bread and bacon. Oh, fried bread. I love fried bread. Haven't had it for a long, long time. You got fritters. I thought somebody was outside. Savoury potato cakes. That's with fish. It's alright, I think it's bin collecting day, which Peter forgot to put the bins out yesterday. Good job we don't have much rubbish anymore. Potato puffs, that's done with mashed potato and sausage meat and veg. Fried herrings, ooh, no. Potato fudge and fried bacon. I'm going to continue looking through these. I'm sorry if I've bored you. I've gone on a bit, haven't I? I don't know how many. 5 minutes. It's going to be a half an hour video, I think. Cheese and potato soups. Pickled herring. I'm going to look through, because, I can't show you all this, can I? Dried fruit fritters. Fig biscuits. I saw somebody make Marmite biscuits. Now they could be good. They're not in this one. Digestive biscuits, ginger biscuits, peppermint sticks, chocolate crunch, filling for cakes, scones. Yeah, going back to the fat, the fat from meat. My mum said they always had a bowl of dripping in the middle of the table with a loaf of bread for the kids. So they didn't go hungry. There was something there for them to eat. Do you know, I was born in 1957 and I can never remember going hungry. I was saying that to Pete the other day. There's all these food banks and people saying they can't afford to feed their kids. I know things are more expensive now, but I don't know. We never went hungry. Yeah, and everybody had a ration book. Now, obviously, this isn't a real ration book, but it's they had tokens, and it would cost so many tokens per whatever was on your weekly ration, and they cut out the little tokens. And I think it's got some old adverts in the back. Thank you savers, wartime saver workers. And stalk margarine. I'll be back again after the war. The Stalk Margarine Cookery Service. Yeah, they put out the Stalk Margarine. They're still going now. They did put out some cookery books in the war. I'll have to see if I can get my hands on one. Anyway, we will make something, or a few things. I'll have to decide what I'm going to do on that. So, anyway, hope this wasn't too boring for you. Keep safe. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.